Jalen and Jacoby, Jalen Rose, there's been a lot of discussion about the Portland Trail Blazers. Not exactly starting the season on the right foot. They played the Cleveland Cavaliers. Usually, you can chalk that up as a win when you see the Cavs on the schedule. Not this year, not with Portland. Dame had a chance to win the game. However, I'm going to ask the question. Do you believe Dame Lillard, with 3 more years on his contract, plays out his contract in Portland, regardless of what he says about loyalty and being 10 toes down and staying with Portland? Do you think he stays with Portland through his contract?
Why are you doing this to me?
Because I know your answer. You just don't want to say it into a microphone. I know what you're going to say. You just don't want to say it.
You know who their coach is?
Yes.
Okay.
Chauncey Billups.
You know he won Finals MVP for the Detroit Pistons, right?
Oh, I know that.
Got it.
Worked with us at ESPN in L.A.
No. I don't think Dame finishes his career with the Blazers.
His contract.
This contract with the Blazers, I don't believe so.
Really?
I think I'm not saying that it's going to happen this week, but I just believe as the jockeying in the Western Conference continues to happen and he starts to get a little older in his career and they start to assess if they need to go forward with their core group or rebuild, that's when you then start having those conversations. You're not trading or like not wanting Dame to finish his career there and or vice versa because he ain't a beast. It is because he's a beast. And the problem is, did Nurkic play last night?
I think so. I think so.
See, that's what I'm saying. And so, like, it always is going to come back to Dame, CJ, and they looking like Tupac, like where everybody else at?
It is
where
like
the other
that.
guys at?
If you just look at the rosters on paper, they're comparable to the Jazz and the Nuggets. They look like one of the teams that should be in the top 4 of the West, yet they haven't found themselves there in the past couple seasons.
So they discovered found money in Carmelo Anthony. Why he ain't on their team?
He's putting up more points than everybody that comes off the bench except for Tyler Hero.
You see what I'm saying? Those are the type of things that make me believe that he won't finish his career with that team.
I think we heard some rumblings that he might not be long for Portland this offseason. They brought in Chauncey, and I think Chauncey is, I don't know him as a head coach, but I know him as a colleague, is someone who can give you confidence.
Correct.
And I think Dame said, you know what? We got a new coach, new voice. Let's try this. Let's see what this is. And so far, it hasn't worked.
Well, the thing is, Chauncey's going to be a terrific coach. Ime Udoka is as well in Boston. What ends up happening, and also Willie Green. There's a reason why those teams change coaches.
Yeah.
Okay, because those situations had issues.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That need to get ironed out. And guess what? They don't get ironed out in 8 games.
Yeah, that doesn't happen the first 3 weeks of the season.
Rick Carlisle's a good coach in Indiana. They got things they still need to iron out. Big win last night. Miles Turner hit 7 threes. And so this is definitely not a reflection of Chauncey. It's a reflection of where Dame is at this point of his career age-wise, where they sit in the Western Conference, and if they feel they have a core group to build around. I don't necessarily see that with them.
I don't either.
That's the problem.
We've seen this so many times before.
I love Mama's boys, but where everybody else at? Consistently.
You look at the Trailblazers, they should be doing much better than a team like the Memphis Grizzlies, who played the Nuggets last night and got a good win, and they've got Ja Morant, and Ja Morant is single-handedly winning them games. Look at what he did on a basketball court last night, Jalen Rose. I've seen all your highlights. You have nothing like this in your whole entire playbook.
No.
Nothing like this.
No.
Look at this.
No.
Look at that.
I pulled a hamstring watching him do a 360. And the funny thing about it is I was having some wine when he did it. I was like, I spilled some wine on myself. I was like, it was a freaky tales, Ja. And the thing about having him, and then on the other side, how about the Joker, though?
I know. He needs help.
Like, his game, how it continued to expand has been incredible. Like, he makes this shot 9 out of 10 times,
I'm concerned about the Joker. Because when they had Jamal Murray, it's like they had a nice 1-2 punch. They signed Michael Porter Jr. to this contract, and they expect more from Michael Porter Jr. than what they're giving him right now. He needs help.
And Aaron Gordon.
Yes.
Both of them.
Yes.
You need
Those
both
were
of them
supposed to be
to
the
play.
pieces. They were supposed to elevate them to a championship level, and now they're losing to the Grizzlies.
And also, my guy Will Barton be balling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you get a healthy Murray back and you get those forwards. You need Porter to, start cutting and moving and getting in a defensive stance. And
Jalen,
so
there are a lot of jokes around the tri-state area that they should put Mike. There is some curious happenings in Cleveland regarding Odell Beckham Jr. We'll get to that, but we start with the game that you were in the building for in Brooklyn. Two of the East's best. The Hawks were in town to take on that man, Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant put on a show, but he wasn't alone. Jalen, what do you take away from this contest between two of the best in the East?
first and foremost, James Harden still looks basically like the player I saw against the Milwaukee Bucks, hobbling, trying to recover from a hamstring injury. I can literally see, now when you're at the game, you can see and hear everything. You get a chance to see and talk to everybody, right? And so that hamstring is something that he's still trying to recover from. So what you see is him trying to pick and choose his spots. Mm-hmm. So he had 0 points, probably like 8 or 9 assists, and right before the half, go between the legs, big three. They up double digits, get a couple of shots in the second half. The other thing is, I love how they was moving KD around. Down screens for KD, curl, elbow shot, backdoor cut, dunk, getting into him in transition. But the key for this team early, and they've relying on him so heavily, and he's delivered, LaMarcus Aldridge. Have you noticed he has the best jump shot percentage of any player in the NBA so far this season?
Well, they always talk about the mid-range is dead, and DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge are like, okay, fine. If you guys are just going to guard the three-point line and layups, well, then I'll just make a living in between.
And I'm glad you went there, because those two players also expanded their games. And they both now can also shoot threes. And this is, for example, a player like Ben Simmons playing on the perimeter. As you advance in your career, those are the type of things you hope to keep adding to your game. But on the other side, DeAndre Hunter was balling too.
Yeah.
He was making threes. I think he was 5 for 5 in the first half. So it was a good win for the Nets. Trae Young struggled from the floor. And it was good to see the Nets get a win against a Hawks team that I felt like going into the game, and I was saying it to you, I was like, disappointed at what I saw with the Nets early. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I was like, the Hawks on their heels. But when I'm standing in the gym and I looked at KD is really 7 foot tall, I'm like,
they'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Well, you said that you wouldn't pick the Nets to win the East unless they had Kyrie Irving, and there is a small, minuscule piece of news regarding that. The mayor-elect Eric Adams has said that he might revisit the COVID vaccines. And if I'm the Nets, I'm like, Mr. Mayor-elect, please be quiet, because we want him to get vaccinated, because mayors who haven't gotten into office yet, they say all kinds of things that don't actually end up happening. But do you think this will change Kyrie's approach to getting vaccinated or not?
I believe he's going to play this season. Whether it's because he gets vaccinated, which we've talked about, and I anticipate, I just hope that it happens during the holiday season.
I think he's already vaccinated. He's just in the 3-week period right now where he's not
Hopefully
double vaccinated.
He's in the giving season. Give NBA fans back the between the leg, behind the back left hand. I just need that back in my life. With that being said, I agree with you. Because you're the mayor and you say you want to do something, we all know politicians don't always do what they say.
Exactly.
But this could be something that helps his popularity a lot. They're also about that as well. So I believe it's something he can do, he will do, because he put it out there.
Jalen, two more teams in the Eastern Conference that have championship or at least playoff aspirations. The Bulls, who are hot just out of the gate, and the 76ers faced off. And Joel Embiid and Seth Curry said, we don't need Ben Simmons.
Well, the thing I also took away from, we just talked about it. That's a terrific block by Joel Embiid late in the game. Mm-hmm. But you know what we probably should be showing? DeMar DeRozan did that same move earlier in the game, and he reverse dunked it.
Well, not that time. That was actually called a foul and got reversed.
Right. And so, I like what I've seen from his game this year. DeMar DeRozan's been killing. But Curry's been the person that they've relied on to make big shots in Philly. And on paper, as you start to build the team, his role has now become more important because He's a dead-eye shooter that's improved his ball handling, and now all of a sudden he's went from being like a specialist to somebody that they can rely on to make big shots, and that's what he did in this game.
Yeah, he's no longer just a spot-up, catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. He's playmaking for others. He's driving. He's doing a lot. It's good to see him progress because he's always been looked at as not Steph Curry, Seth Curry. But you mentioned DeRozan, and DeRozan has been absolutely on fire this season for the new-look Chicago Bulls. When you look at his numbers of what he's done this season, he's got a few games in the 30s. There's the reverse dunk you were talking about. Do you think he can maintain this kind of productivity throughout the full season?
Absolutely, because of how he's getting it.
Talk to me.
Do you see them hanging on the rim? Did you just see those dunks? Show those dunks again. Okay, that's the answer to your question. Ain't nothing wrong with his wheels. That's the whole thing. Like he always was an elite scorer, a 20-plus point scorer. He added the three. He got stronger. He improved his ball handling. Now he's finishing at the rim. It's great to see how he's flourishing in Chicago. Look at that bang, bang, Siegel Street on the baseline.
It's not just mid-range jumpers like it was in Toronto. And I think because he was in San Antonio, people weren't really paying attention to his productivity. But now that he's on the New Look Bulls, they're winning early in the season. Everyone's paying attention to them. And he is 4th in the league in scoring. And I think he's going to stay around there for the full season. Hopefully he stays healthy. Jalen, we got some strange news yesterday regarding